Rain pattered on the cool asphalt streets of Raccoon City, the droplets soothing the late hours of the day. The windows fogged the view, making it slightly obscured. The city lights danced in the droplets like a ballet. Joseph, a taxi cab driver in the late nights, is pulling up to his usual spot. The Tokomo Lounge, a fancy place with high-end clientele. Here a woman in a red dress awaits a pickup.
Hi, I'm trying to get to Raccoon City Police Department. Can you please take me?
Raccoon Police Department, sure, no problem. I've been here for years. We will be there soon, ma'am. Hop in.
The woman's posture was elegant and strong. As beautiful as she was, her composure of a leader was definitely worn on her shoulders. The taxi cab's engine moved into first gear, and the engine slightly hummed. The cab drives off and proceeds to the Raccoon City Police Station as requested by the women. The rain hits the windshield and the wipers are turned on, constantly wiping the droplets away. Joseph heads to the nearest light and turns left, signaling with his blinker. Joseph taps his finger on the steering wheel to the sound. "So what's going on at the r.p.d?" asked Joseph, tilting his head back, looking over his shoulder with a smile of sincerity and respect. The woman raised her right eyebrow and shifted her sunglasses. "I'm here to visit an old friend. He's on duty at the station." The woman replied calmly. "Oh, very nice. There's much to do around. I like that place I picked you up from. It's always busy," Joseph stated, turning the cab gently. While driving, Joseph noticed police cars were more active in the area and other emergency vehicles. The roads were wet, glossy, and slightly fogged by the rain. The city ambiance faded the further they drove from it. The woman adjusted her dress and stated, "Do you ever get out of town much?" "Not really, I work a lot, and I guess I really just never thought about leaving," Joseph replied, touching his chin slightly. While the cab turned down another road, an ambulance emergency siren and lights turned on. It sped across the cab, cutting off traffic, then accelerates away. "Wonder what's going tonight. Geez, there's so many emergencies," Joseph questioned, looking out the windshield confused. Emergency lights blinked, illuminating nearby businesses. "That's an interesting question. I would like to know as well what's going on here," the women answered, concerned. The taxi had to make a detour turn ahead as requested by police officers in the road, signaling with their hands to turn right. Their uniforms wet, glossy, and imperial. Their faces tired, serious, cold from the rain. The Raccoon police were tough, most ex-military, strong and brute, but courteous and welcoming. "Oh great, a detour," Joseph said, bothered, tapping on the brakes, turning the vehicle. "Well, here, you are a hard-working man. Take this, it should last you a while. Don't worry about it. I'm on vacation," the women said, handing Joseph $500. She then sat back and crossed her legs and nodded her head once, looking at Joseph in his rear-view mirror. "Oh my God, thank you, ma'am. That's the most generous thing anyone has ever done," Joseph replied, his jaw inaudible, and he chuckled with excitement. "Take this night off and leave town. Start your vacation today. It's more fun on a whim, the lady said optimistically. Thank you again, ma'am, for the tip. You're too kind, Joseph stated. Okay, we're here. It was a pleasure driving you. Enjoy your vacation. Stay safe, Joseph said, waving slightly as the women stepped out of the car. She walked off without looking back or saying a word, like she was never there. The women disappeared around the corner to the police station. Sal, hey sir, hope all is well, Joseph exclaimed to a nearby officer parked in front of the taxicab. The officer waved his right hand and nodded his head up, smiling towards Joseph.
Hey, be careful. We had some strange calls earlier about people getting bit by wackos. Weird, huh?
It's true. Weird shit going on the last 2 hours. Keep your eyes open for anything suspicious and call it in, said Sal's partner Dennis. His expression was concerning, and his tone was more serious than Sal's. Joseph pulled away and drove off. Joseph kept thinking of the women. She made his night a good night. He decided to stop at a corner store. The rain is fluctuating its strength, and Joseph thinks a vacation does sound like a good idea after all. What Joseph didn't know was that a lurking evil would interrupt all plans either way. Joseph parked his car outside the corner store, across the street. The rain settled down a little bit as he closed the door and locked it with his keys. Joseph began to walk across the street when he heard screaming coming from down the road. The screams grew louder every second that passed. He ran up to a police officer to ask what was happening, and the officer advised him to go inside. The officer ran to his car and drove down towards the screams. A second officer parked close by, began to demand everyone to stay inside and avoid panic. He used his radio and walked cautiously to the back of his car, watching what chaos was erupting up the road. Joseph stood in the street, the rain landing on him, trickling down his face. People nearby in shock, some screaming and running, some were too scared to move. The crime scene had body bags. Joseph swore he saw one move, then in an instant it burst open, and a pale, wet, creature-like man struck his arm through it and crawled out. Its face and arms scattered with teeth marks, as if something previously bit him.
That guy over there, he seems hurt. Oh my God, look at his face.
People were running frantically past him. Business that were open were being filled by the late-night businessmen and drunk partygoers trying to hide. Howls and growls began to fill the air from different directions. The body bags opened, filling with rain, now empty, and its occupants are nowhere to be seen. Joseph heard a loud gargle and growl-like sound from behind him. The sound raised the hair on his neck and chilled his bones. A man without expression, bloody and deathly looking, reached out to grab his shoulder, but Joseph jolted away and sprinted as fast as he could into the unknown. He dodged people, cars, and street signs, hoping the next turn was always safe as he ran through alleys and streets. Joseph ran as fast as he could. Every corner he turned, a new threat yanked its head towards him and lashed out. The men and women of Raccoon City were voracious, angry, and psychotic, lunging to hurting and everyone around. People were being tackled and clawed at. Screams were in every direction. Glass windows broke, car horns went off, police sirens rang, and gunshots were all symphonizing around. Joseph kept running until he escaped the violent, growling group. His feet tired and chest pounding from his heart, he took a second to collect himself. He noticed a warehouse district, sure to be vacant at this time. If he's lucky, maybe someone can help, he thought. Cars drove past unaware of what was happening, people still randomly walking on the sidewalks, unaware of the chaos. Across the street, there were people also running into the warehouse district, unfortunately being chased. Damn it. Joseph grunted, leaning into a street lamp. This is his only chance, he thought. He remembered he has his concealed pistol in his jacket, every cab driver's Bible. He made sure he didn't drop his extra magazine, patting his sides with both hands. 30 rounds. Better not miss, he said to himself, spitting rain off his lips. Joseph made it across the street, running, splashing through puddles that accumulated from the storm. The area looked clear, but his hopes were not up yet. Distant gunfire could be heard, every shot and scream setting fear deeper into his mind. He began to think this may be the end of his life. Joseph clenched his pistol and cautiously walked, looking for an opening to a safe warehouse where he can hunker down and plan. In the distance, it looks like the creatures have made their way into the warehouse district, chasing the living, soon to be the dead, as they were outnumbered. A smaller group of people seemed to be alone, sneaking by, also seeking shelter. One warehouse already had too many people. Joseph knew it could cause trouble. The creatures were closing in. He could tell as the gunshots faded and the growls got louder. Joseph watched in horror as a crawling creature began to mutate, growing claws and sharp teeth, shrieking as it changed form. It clawed and kicked, then crawled up the side of the warehouse those people went into. Joseph ran fast to another location. Time was running out. Joseph's stomach was feeling unsettled, and he knew it was time to fight through. The last warehouse had creatures near it. The sounds of death from behind him and the growls in front were his only options. Joseph took a deep breath and ran forward. Locked. I need a key. It looks like a diamond-shaped padlock. That's odd, Joseph said to himself in panic, fear racing through his body. Also locked. Great. This one needs a circle key. What the hell? Joseph muttered in frustration. He ran around the side, hopping over the dead he placed a moment ago with his pistol. Yes, Joseph said, relieved. He ran inside and immediately closed the shutter and locked it with 2 padlocks that hung near the rails. Safe for now, but he can hear the zombies banging and clawing at the surrounding warehouse doors. He dropped to his knees and calmed himself, placing his pistol on the floor in front of him. The zombies were moaning, screeching, and banging outside all around. No threat was near him or trying to get in, so it must be safe, he thought, for now. The warehouse was safe. No undead lurking, clawed creatures, or other people. The doors were all locked, and Joseph placed items in front of them like boxes and heavy shelves. The warehouse had a lot of material, definitely enough to create a good shelter. The only problem, there wasn't enough food to stay. Eventually, he knew he would have to face what is outside to survive. Joseph found a large war hammer. It looked like someone might have made it who worked here. He scavenged some zip ties, thin wood, and boxes, along with tape, to make armor in case it's needed. The little employee fridge had enough food for about 2 days, not enough to survive. Joseph turned on the little TV and sat in the office, hoping to hear what's going on and planning his escape. I'm getting out of here alive. There's no way I'm dying this way, Joseph said, sitting back, wiping his eyes.